You just threw away a perfectly good yogurt. The date on the lid said yesterday. So obviously, it's garbage now, right? Wrong. That date stamped on your food, the one that makes you toss out millions of dollars worth of perfectly edible food every single year, was never meant to tell you when food becomes unsafe. It was never a safety date. It was never a government-mandated expiry. And in most countries, the company that put that date on the package, they made it up. This is the story of expiration dates, where they actually came from, what they actually mean, and why almost everything you believe about them is a lie invented by marketing departments. Go back to the early 1900s. Cities were booming. Factories were producing food at scales nobody had ever seen before. And people were getting sick, really sick, from spoiled milk, rotten meat, and contaminated canned goods. There was no system, no labels, no way for a regular person to know if the food they bought from a store had been sitting in a warehouse for 3 weeks. Here's where it gets interesting. In 1933, Chicago, yes, that Chicago, the one run partly by organized crime at the time, passed one of the first laws in the world requiring milk to be date-stamped. The story goes that Al Capone, who was by then in prison, had a relative who got sick from spoiled milk. Whether that's entirely true or urban legend, the result was real. Chicago made milk dating mandatory. But here's what the law actually required. It required a date. It didn't define what that date meant. And that ambiguity, that single gap in legislation, is what has haunted food labels ever since. 6 different phrases. And here is the staggering truth. In the United States, none of them, with the single exception of infant formula, are federally regulated. Not one. There is no law that says what best by must mean. There is no federal agency that defines sell by. The companies print whatever date they want, using internal quality standards that vary from brand to brand. Sell by is a note for the store, not for you. It tells the retailer how long to display the product. The food is still completely fine after that date. The company just wanted the shelf cleared for fresher stock. Best by means the manufacturer believes the food will taste its absolute best before that date. Not that it will become dangerous. Not that bacteria will suddenly explode. Just that the flavor profile, the texture, the crunch might be slightly diminished. Use by is the closest thing to an actual safety date, but it only applies to certain highly perishable items like fresh meat. Even then, if the product was stored correctly, it's almost always still safe for days beyond that mark. A 2016 study by the Natural Resources Defense Council estimated that Americans throw away $160 billion worth of food every single year largely because of confusion around these dates. That's not a food safety win. That's one of the most expensive misunderstandings in modern consumer history. Your senses. The tool's evolution spent millions of years perfecting specifically for this purpose. Smell is your most powerful indicator. Humans can detect the chemical compounds that harmful bacteria produce, the sulfur compounds, the organic acids, at extraordinarily low concentrations. If milk smells sour, it's sour. If it smells fine, it almost certainly is fine, even if it's 3 days past its best by date. Visual cues matter too. Mold is visible. Sliminess on meat is a real indicator. Color changes in certain products signal real degradation. The USDA's own food safety experts say most dry goods, pasta, rice, canned vegetables, crackers, remain safe and nutritious for years, sometimes decades beyond printed dates. Canned food from World War II has been opened and tested. It was nutritionally intact. Not great tasting, sure, but not dangerous. Expiration dates are not lies. Exactly. They're quality benchmarks set by manufacturers to protect their brand reputation, not your health. The food industry, rather than being transparent about this, allowed generations of consumers to conflate past best by with dangerous to eat, and it resulted in one of the greatest waste systems in human history. The next time you reach for that yogurt that expired yesterday, stop. Open it. Smell it. Look at it. Use the biological tools you were born with. Because the date stamped on that lid? That was written by a marketing team, not a doctor. And that yogurt? It's probably just fine.